What is up, everybody? It's time for another episode of The Wrestling Wire. Man, look, tired, exhausted, burnout, rundown. Put it out there. We're there. Um, Working on footage from the last couple weeks, trying to do this, trying to keep up with everything. Man, there's just a lot going on. So, if anybody has anything they want to bring up today, send it in the comments. We'll get to it as best we can. Uh, man, is Triple H going to just keep booking and booking and booking quality television? Because if he does, I can't see nothing but ratings going up. Raw and SmackDown both this week were on fire. Uh, you know, the way Raw went off the air was just uncanny. But what was crazy is we started the match or the night off with Finn Balor and Matt Riddle, right? So you had Rollins interfere. It's like, why? I thought we were done with this. I thought you said this was over back in SummerSlam. Well, apparently it's not. So here we go again. Um, I get continuing the storyline, but maybe the slow play on this one just isn't hitting for me. I'm not sure what it is. Um, oop, there we go. Got to keep an eye on another setup over here so I can make sure that everything is downloading properly. Anyway, with that being said, guys, let's see here. Yeah, now we're going to end up getting Rollins and Riddle again. Are we getting a Crown Jewel or are we going to get Extreme Rules? Because both of those shows are coming up. Now, the cool thing is they're bringing more light to the back players of Judgment Day. While it looks like Finn Balor and Damian Priest are being just kind of there, it looks like they're getting more involved in the ring and they're getting more time, and it's also putting more shine on them because the last several weeks have looked like predominantly Rhea in the spotlight, even though she's not doing much in the ring. So it's awesome that they're having her take it easy after her concussion and whatever else happened to her. Even though they did have her doing some work, it's not as intense as some people may have believed in the beginning. Um, so glad they're doing that. The women's tag team titles have changed hands as Dakota Kai and Io Sky have defeated Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah to win those. So Damage Control is on their way to trying to secure all the ladies' gold. I still kind of think that they may add a female to the Bloodline faction and put another belt in there. It just seems like everybody that goes there grabbing titles. So, in what was an awesome matchup, Johnny Gargano defeated Chad Gable. This match was everything I wanted it to be. Gargano ain't missed a step, man. It don't matter how long he was gone, he hasn't missed a step. Bianca Belair defeated Sonya Deville to retain the title. What has Sonya Deville done to earn a title shot? Anybody want to tell me anything? Uh, be a piss poor management character, maybe? And that gets her a title shot. Okay. But I guess you got to keep something going. Me, I would have made it a contenders match or something. But I still don't know what the next goal is for them. I guess they're just going to slowly build Bailey and Bianca as the next Raw Women's title feud. So we'll go from there. Man. Edge defeated Dominic Mysterio via DQ. Well, this is what happens when the run-in occurs. I completely forgot that Omos completely destroyed two local competitors in a squash match. That really isn't even worth noting. I guess we're going to get Omos versus Strowman eventually, even though I'm not sure what good that's going to do for either one of them. Omos has the size, it's very imposing, but nobody buys it. Strowman, we all know he's believable. He's a former champion. But he's been gone for so long, do people care anymore? I don't know. It may be a short run for Braun Strowman. I'm not sure how that's going to pan out, but let's hope for the best. Um, moving on, we're going to check into AEW's Dynamite from Wednesday night. Wasn't a bad show. Moxley versus Guevara opened up the show. Wasn't a bad matchup at all. Moxley won. He's one step closer to becoming the world champion again, a 3-time world champion at that. Let's see here. MJF comes out to the ring, talks all his normal schmack, and then he puts over everybody in that firm faction that he's in now or running now. This dude seems to always have a faction. It's like he can't get away from a faction. I don't understand what it is. He's good enough in the ring and he's good enough on the mic to stand on his own 2 feet, but he always has a faction. So it's okay. Jungle Boy versus Jay Lethal. Lethal tapped out at the end to the snare trap. So you had Jungle Boy winning that. Let's see here. I got everything written down over here on the other screen, so that's why I'm covering it that way. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Matt DiMartino. Hobbs wrecked Martino. But Ricky ended up coming out after the match, smacking Hobbs in the mouth with a microphone. And I mean, they're building that feud and they're keeping it consistent every week. So that's cool. I hope for good things for Ricky Starks. Nothing against Hobbs. It's just now we're starting to see him break out of his shell a bit. So it's kind of awkward still. He's still kind of in that awkward stage for me. I'm waiting to see him be a breakout. I think Hobbs versus Wardlow at some point would be a pretty good match. Pretty good money match for 2 guys, big size, big built. The Lucha Brothers went up against Swerve and Keith Lee. Well, they took out the Lucha Brothers. The Swerve and Our Glory did and won that. Then the Acclaim come out, and the Acclaim are vowing to win on this Wednesday's Dynamite. They're going to be the new AEW Tag Team Champions. I believe they actually are going to win that match. Orange Cassidy came out during an interview in the backstage between Death Triangle and actually, hit, was it Pac, the bastard Pac, hit him right in the mouth and said he wouldn't be double champ for much longer. So we'll see how that pans out. You had Tony Storm and Athena team up to go up against Serena Deeb and Britt Baker. That's just a weird team. That is just a weird team. I don't get it, but okay. Let's see here. Serena Deeb actually pinned Tony Storm in that one. So with that being said, are we going to get Serena Deeb at a shot for the AEW Women's title? I think that's a good bet. I think that's good money. I think that's a good matchup. Tony Storm ain't bad. Serena Deeb is exceptional. No doubt about it. So I'm real interested to see how that goes. There's also that fallout that happened after the match. Jamie Hayter ran into the ring to hit Athena with a steel chair. Baker, it's weird. Britt Baker told Hayter she was sorry, and Hayter walked off alone. Like, it made enough sense, but I don't think it made too much sense. The casual viewer probably didn't get it. So there is that to keep in mind when they're trying to progress storylines like that. Main event, Grand Slam Tournament Champion Finals. Jericho versus Danielson. Here we go. This match was awesome. Their first one was fantastic. Their second one was great. Brian Danielson hit the label lock. Jericho had to tap out. It will be Brian Danielson versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Champion. Why does it seem like every time CM Punk leaves the building, Daniel Bryanson is your uh, choice? Or, Brian Danielson, not Daniel Bryanson, whatever. Uh, Brian Danielson, excuse me. He is your next choice for champ every time. It's quite weird. I have a feeling that they're going to go with Brian Danielson being your champion, and they're going to let Mox go on his vacation he was supposed to go on after he lost to Punk in Chicago. But that was it for AEW's Dynamite. Moving on to SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown was a hit this week yet again. Logan Paul comes out and invited Roman to his press conference in Las Vegas. This led to Heyman getting in the ring and trying to jaw back and forth with him. Then Sammy interferes, and Sammy ended up getting hit in the mouth for his money, just for all his effort he puts in. He just gets punched in the mouth. Then he gets beat by Ricochet in the opening match of SmackDown. The Maximum Male models are out doing their back to school lineup, which they're only a couple weeks late. I guess that's what they call fashionably late timing. I don't know. But that, Braun Strowman comes out and just knocks the both of them all the way down the ramp, beating the hell out of them all the way. Just, it's him. So then the Alpha Academy comes out, and him versus, not Chad Gable, but the other one. I can't think of the redneck's name. Shit, I can see him. Hell, y'all know who I'm talking about. But at any rate, with with the guy from Alpha Academy getting in there, and they got to mixing it up, and he actually showed some strength against him. Talk about Otis, that is. Otis was putting it out there, and I mean, it looked like at some point you may have a little bit of a shot coming from this, where Otis was actually going to be able to do something. Well, lo and behold, that didn't occur the way they thought it would, and Otis ended up getting knocked out of the ring. In my book, I'm gonna have to check into that some more in a minute. In my opinion, those two having a matchup would also be good because you're going to give more credibility to Braun as well as showcase the strength that Otis actually has, the strength and ability from Otis. So I kind of feel like it's got as good points on both sides of it. Um, Bailey defeated Raquel Rodriguez. That was awesome. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that they continue on the storyline with Bailey making her way towards Bianca instead of putting Bailey on SmackDown. It's weird having them all on both shows, but at the same time, there comes a point in time where you gotta book your top tier talent on both shows, as well as filter in your lower and mid card talent. That way, you don't oversaturate them on TV because they're not that good, but you're also keeping the ratings going because you have your higher card talent always on screen. You know, uh, I feel like that's the direction they're wanting to go with it. So we'll see how it pans out. Let's see. After the match, Damage Control was going to try to mess up uh, Raquel Rodriguez, but Shotzi Blackheart came out, which is weird. I have a feeling they don't know what to do with Shotzi, but the crowd loves the girl. Put her on screen. It's really not that hard. Liv Morgan challenged Ronda Rousey to an Extreme Rules matchup. A gimmick match for them is one of the best ways for Ronda to lose and not look weak by losing to Liv Morgan because it's a gimmick match. Liv could wear her ass out with a chair and a kendo stick and all this other stuff. They could beat the holy hell out of each other. Ronda could do that without a gimmick. So with Ronda being able to do it without a gimmick, and then you got to move on to going about it this way, it just becomes a whole nother ball game. Um, I like the idea, and I hope it works out. Drew McIntyre comes out and responds to Karrion Kross and his challenges. Once again, that's good storyline building, good story building, just brick by brick, vignette by vignette. The slow play is working for them because they're, I guess it's more malicious in their case as opposed to the style that they're doing with Riddle and Rollins. We'll have to see how each of these pan out, but I'm looking forward to Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre somewhere in the near future. Solo Sikoa has defeated Madcap Moss to retain the NXT North American Championship. Great that we're seeing an NXT title defended on SmackDown. That's awesome. That'll help bring eyes to the product of NXT. Yes, having an NXT, which is supposed to be your developmental, beat a main roster talent, not real sold on that being a great idea. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways it could go. Um, then we had a fatal 4-way tag match. This is awesome. This match was great and it deserved all the accolades it got. You had Fight Night, Ridge Holland and Butch defeat the New Day, Hit Row, and Imperium. I was pulling for either Fight Night or Imperium to win this because I think that those are the two teams that I need to see in the title picture right now. Hit Row, give them 3 to 6 to 9 months to put them in the title picture, please. Let them develop. Let them get the crowd really behind them. They just came back a couple weeks ago. It's still kind of fresh. Let it marinate a little bit. Okay, let it marinate a little bit. The New Day, man, the New Day is your team. You can send them in whenever you need them. You don't need to put them in right now. You can send them in whenever you need a good team to jump in. So I think they made the right call here. But that was a fantastic main event on SmackDown, which was stacked as hell. Let's see, Rampage. Darby Allin versus Matt Hardy, and Darby got the dub here. So I guess because they're starting to mention Jeff more, he's getting ready to come back. Is that kind of where this is going? And then it was weird to see Matt get attacked after the match by whatever they're called now, Black, whatever. Julia Hart and Brody King were out there. Oh, the House of Black, that's them. Yeah, so it was kind of weird to see the House of Black jump out there for whatever reason. But okay, fair enough. So now after the match is over, they attack the guy that they hadn't been targeting in Stinger Darby Allin. And then Sting and Darby Allin respond to it. It's just weird. So it'll be Brody challenging Darby and Sting next week in a no DQ match. So that's going to be Brody and Buddy Matthews against Darby and Sting. Okay. We can roll with it. Let's see here. Here's where it got strange for me. We know Diamante was there. And so Jade Cargill was backstage talking about there's no competition. Diamante shows up, starts talking. And then she says she's pulling up with the baddest bitch from the 305. I don't know what that means because I don't know who's from the 305. Was that a reference to Trina, the rapper? Was that a reference to another wrestler that we don't know about? I mean, what are we looking at here next week in New York? I'm trying to figure this one out. We ended up with Willow Nightingale versus Penelope Ford. So Penelope Ford won that match. Willow tapped out. That was actually a pretty solid match right there. Uh, I'm not the biggest fan of either of them. They're it's not that they're botchy, it's that they're spotty. You see what I'm saying? Like, not everything looks all that crisp and clean when it comes to them two, but overall, wasn't a bad matchup at all. Let's see here. Danhausen versus All Ego Ethan Page. Ethan Page wore his ass out. The Ego's Edge was fantastic. That Ego's Edge looks so good. Razor Ramon looked down, smiling, saying, "Hey, Chico," or some fuck. That was badass. Uh, let's see. It's time for the main event, and it was Samoa Joe versus Josh Woods. Uh, that match there, I I couldn't tell which way it was going, so I actually enjoyed that. They made uh, Joe look like $1 million, or Josh. Sorry, they made Josh Woods look like $1 million in that matchup. I think Joe did a fantastic job. After the match, Nice, Woods, were taking advantage of him, and Sterling got in there. Well, Wardlow came out and was getting ready to powerbomb Sterling when Nice pulled Sterling from inside the ring to the outside, and that was it for Dynamite. Man, they sent us home on that one. Not a bad night for Dynamite. I heard the ratings were pretty decent. Now, yesterday there was a special press conference. The WWE that set us up for the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns to go against Logan Paul in Saudi, November the 5th at the Crown Jewel. I'm not sure why they're even putting the title on the line at this match, but what I believe is going to happen in that case is I think this is where you're going to get your cash in. I believe what they'll do is to protect Roman, you'll have Theory come in and you will have him pin Logan Paul. So Roman didn't lose the match. He didn't get pinned or submitted. So his 1,000 days of that is still good. But they'll make it so he takes one of the titles or something along those lines. That's the only way I can do this, and it makes sense. That is the absolute only way I can do this. Just checking files, folks. Just checking files. Trying to make sure I got the right ones going too. You know how life is. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's everything. All my files are being uploaded the correct way, so there we go. Um, like I said, man, the work never stops in this place. So we're gonna get that's the first match we've got announced for Crown Jewel is Roman Reigns and Logan Paul. Uh, if anybody else has got absolutely anything for that, you send it my way because I would love to talk about it. Because if nobody else has anything, what else we got to talk about here? The backstage drama shit, nobody cares about anymore. That's already done. Uh, I've heard reports that Punk's been seen out in public, wherever he's been in Chicago, and people like you can tell he don't want to be bothered, but he'll still wave to the kids or do a fist bump or whatever, and that's it. You just leave him alone and go on about your way, and he's fine. As far as Kenny Omega, I I've seen he was out doing interviews and stuff in Japan or whatever for Fight Forever. He's out doing his thing right now. So, look, long as they're getting their collective stuff straightened out. I mean, I know we're gonna have to deal with Punk being away for surgery, but realistically, how How important is it right now for him to come back? Does AEW need Punk? Does Punk need to wrestle anymore? Does he want to do this anymore? He got burned out last time, and it makes people, feel some kind of way about it, man. So it's just one of those things. Um, and if any, like I said, man, if any of the viewers out there got anything they want to add to this, you chime on in because we just want to see what y'all think as well. I was hoping the crowd would be a little bit more lively tonight, but alas, here we are. Hey, ain't that all professional wrestling now? Whether it's professional wrestling, indie wrestling, podcast, whatever, you always want the fans as fired up as you can. Well, at any rate, folks, that has been everything I had to cover for this week's episode of the Wrestling Wire. And it seems as though ain't hitting on much this weekend. So it's been real. It's been fun. Hell yeah, folks, it's been real fun. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Thus proclaimed.